And today we are with Michal, who is a personal development author who published 19 books. Yes? Is that
Yes, sir.
correct? Wow, that's more than me because I've published no books. um, that's awesome. So, what was the period and how many years have you published so many books?
It was about 10 years.
10 years. Okay. And before publishing your first book, was it a hobby? Was it just something that you love? Was it something that helped you a lot in your life? I'm interested in
So,
how this all
f-
started. Yeah.
like, I first met with personal development when I was like 17. I read few books, Brian Tracy, Anthony Robbins, tried to apply this or that, but in the end, I wasn't convinced that's for me because in the end, I didn't believe in myself. Fast forward another 15 years and I still didn't believe in myself, but I had 3 kids, day job, commute, many responsibilities, and I wasn't satisfied where my life was going to. I was miserable in my day job, my relationships were so-so, my health also. And then I read the book The Slight Edge by Jeff Olson, which trumps the Jim Rohn's message. Success is a few simple disciplines repeated over time. For me, that was big discovery because I thought success is, golden medal at Olympics or founding another Microsoft. But small things, oh, maybe that was I was capable of. So in the next like half a year, I ditched my bad habits, stopped playing computer games, and studied personal development like crazy, and applied whatever I could. Uh, so that was, and it really didn't change my life in that period. It changed me. But it was the seed that changed my life in the future. So this is how I started writing my books as kind of documentation of what I've done. This worked for me, this worked for me, this I'm not so fond of, doesn't seem to be working, or maybe I'm just looking at the wrong things. Um, so my books are practical out of the experience of ordinary person who wants to do something about their life.
Okay. So that's really interesting. And let's say that I want to now change my habits. I want to stop playing computer, which I don't play anymore, because I have pretty good habits now. It's taken me many years to get to the point where I start to really have control over my habits, and I can consciously decide what I want to do with my life. For most of my life, I had ADHD. I had very little discipline. I was looking for, I guess, what they call today dopamine rushes, which is things that are easy and fun to do instead of the things that are hard and the reward is years away. But let's say I'm back into that state, which honestly I can even improve even more. Where do I start by improving my habits and removing all the junk?
Removing is the not the best place to start because it's hard to remove a habit. It's hard coded in your brain, so lobotomy is the only option. Sorry. Uh, in order to change your bad habit, you need to reprogram it. Well, if you don't do lobotomy.
So
Uh,
by lobotomy, you mean cutting my brain, right?
yes, exactly. Or
Okay, I
part
don't
of
want
the
to do
brain
that.
with the neural loop.
Yeah, I like my brain. So,
Yes, yes. So
what's option
reprogramming
two?
it and
Yeah.
reprogramming your brain, that takes a lot of efforts. Like my intuition is, because nobody really researched it well enough to say, okay, this is how it is. But my intuition says that just need more repetitions of a new activity to override the old one. And this is what I'm finding in the literature. Like, for example, they concluded that people who slip to their old ways after years of being sober, for example, do that in the moment of stress where they fall just to the old state. And so like they rewinding their brain to the past and okay, that was that state. Voila, we behave that way. Uh, and they could have avoided if their new habits were so strong that, and actual, it takes quite a conscious reflection to narrow down what exactly it is. Yeah, so we say stress situation, but what does it mean? Someone attacks you, you lose your job or whatever. It's hard to engineer such things in the real life, yeah, to prepare for them, but you can do it maybe mentally. Uh, but that wasn't the point. The point was that the new habits weren't strong enough to be their default, whatever happens in their life. Yeah, so it takes a lot of effort, and I prescribe this method of getting rid of bad habits only for serious issues like alcoholism, drug addiction, and so on. This is something you don't want in your life period, yeah? But the rest of the bad habits, okay, so let's talk about the science of habits. Habits are hard-coded in our neural loops, and the loop looks like that. A trigger, which releases the behavior, activity, and then there is an endpoint, which
So, Michelle, before you get into the details, I want to remind you first, I'm not so smart. So, I'm going to have to take breaks once in a while to break it down. But what you just said basically is that we're not deleting our old habits. That's not going to happen. We can try to force ourselves, and I'm guessing we're not going to be very successful long term. But what we can do is we can create very strong new habits to connect the old, I guess, the old trigger with a new behavior, right? And the people
yes,
that failed in the past to stick with their commitment to stop drinking alcohol, for example, the reason they couldn't is because they became stressed and they either didn't have a new routine or their new routine wasn't strong enough. Is that
yes,
correct so
exactly.
far?
That's exactly what I meant. So you are quite smart, nonetheless, because this is exactly how it works. And the new programming wasn't just strong enough to be the default option. That's one thing. Also, the second thing is, yes, rewriting the habit is about fitting into the early loop. So trigger activity endpoint. You just need a different activity. This is why so many people quit smoking with chewing a mind gum. Yeah, because it's like they also occupy their fingers. Yeah, they feel the sensation in their mouth. Like everything is similar. So I feel the stress. I will chew the gum. Uh, and uh, and that way they rebuild the new habit. And then it's my hunch is a matter of repetition. So if you are smoking 20 cigarettes a day for 10 years, you now need to chew a gum 20 times a day for 11 years to have a stronger program that it will be infallible. You will never fall into the old ways.
So, so how is that the solution? If you have to chew gum for 11 years, you're saying that you're going to suffer for 11 years or what?
Is that suffering? Like, it may be, cause exactly like how you think about things. But if you are consciously rebuilding your habits, it shouldn't be like, I can understand if I tell my son, do this. Then it's some from outside, but if it's internal motivation, okay, I don't want to smoke anymore. I want to be healthy. I want to be there for my grandkids, whatever is the reason. You have some motivation. So, yes, the process itself is maybe not exactly as pleasurable, but it shouldn't be, a torment for you.
Okay. So this is interesting. It's like, let's say somebody lived a very unhealthy life, for example, okay, and they decide to work out and to eat healthy now. That's their decision. That means they want to work out, let's say, a few times a week. And normally they would sit down and watch TV. They would not, when they have their own time, they would watch TV and rest and waste time maybe and not be as productive and feel guilty or bad after that. You're saying that they would have to keep the habit for as long as they were lazy, let's call it lazy, in order for that new habit to permanently just take effect.
Yes.
So,
but the key here is permanently, yeah, because
yeah,
in this weakest moment of yours, if you can then default to the new way, okay, that's what you want to achieve. But you won't be at the lowest point the whole time. Yeah? It may
yeah,
happen once in a decade. So, uh, so it just gets a little bit of self-awareness to correct yourself. It's not that you need to be on your toes 24/7 to be able to reprogram your bad habit. But we are talking about reprogramming, whereas the easiest way to change your habits and your life is to just avoid the triggers so in your example, okay, this guy should throw out the TV. There is no trigger for him to sit on a couch. He will do something else, whatever it will be, but something else for sure, because the trigger is gone. It's how I quickly quit computer games. I just deleted them from my computer, and I needed to, if I wanted to play, I needed to install it once again. That's enough of a process to catch yourself in the minute too, and no, that's not what I want.
Many people are doing this. They are uninstalling Instagram, uninstalling Facebook, uninstalling games. But I found out that over time it doesn't work, because when they are too triggered and they really want to go back on the social media or the games, they will install back the game anyway. So sometimes it doesn't hold up. So what would be the solution for that?
Well, do it again. Like, if there is no Facebook on your phone, you cannot connect. Period. Yeah. So then you need to install. So it's about this describes in a beautiful book, Atomic Habits. That in order to develop good habits, you need to make them as easy as possible and to avoid bad habits as hard as possible. So, if you never have Facebook on your phone, you feel the urge, you know you are an addict. Okay, now you need to install it. It's a hurdle. Then you need to log in once again. It's a hurdle. It like repeat that 10 times and yeah, you will do it less. So it's not the ironclad solution, but it's a solution. It's better than waiting, another 10 years without Facebook because you are retraining your mind to react differently. Uh, as I say, I reserve that method for ultra serious things in your life. And changing triggers is also, but also triggers. Often the trigger for something like Facebook scrolling is emotional one. So it's not about, okay, don't have Facebook on your phone, but it's don't feel that way. Or if you feel that way, then do something else because it will serve you better. So for me, computer games, the trigger was this mix of boredom and existential void and like nothing to be looking forward in my life. So I'll just kill my time and like escape. Yeah? And so how I avoided that trigger, I again shifted my focus to positive, to good habits. I found something, I said, okay, this is my purpose. And I was pretty enthusiastic about it, so it took over. And that's also the beauty of developing new habits and introducing new good activities in your life, that if you do it enough, then you just don't have space for bad things or bad
Right.
things, you know.
So that was for you, you avoided your trigger. So you were quite aware of your triggers, right? What if someone doesn't have awareness about their triggers?
It's a nice excuse, but it's just an excuse. Once, if you don't know, then you try to discover. Yeah, it's not, oh, I don't know, and then you cannot do anything. Yeah, that's one
Right.
thing. The other thing, like the easiest, I would say, the shortcut here is feedback from people who are not afraid to tell you the truth, which usually are our spouses. You do this, you do that. Yeah, and that's most of the time true. So then you see, okay, so I'm going back from work and I'm putting dirty shoes there every time. Yeah, that's not nice.
Yeah, I understand. That makes sense. So that's one way to build new habits, right? Now, Simon, I guess your approach to building new habits was a bit different. Can you tell us about this?
I don't know what approach you're talking about. You mean my recent changes? Is that what you're referring to?
Yeah, your new
Okay.
habits. How did you implement your new habits?
Okay. But yeah, I had a few things to say. But first of all, Michelle, you are brutal, and I love that. That's great. You don't know what your triggers are? Okay, find out. No excuses, right? That's great, and I think we all have to do that. And my my changes, above all, my recent changes, that means pretty much healing the symptoms of PTSD and ADHD, lack of focus, lack of discipline. For me, it was healing the emotional triggers, like Michel says, and I think that's what I do also to my clients, who we never talk about habits and we never talk about alcoholism, but we greatly reduce their stress and their anxiety. And by chance, so many of them just stop drinking. And for me, I just deal with the emotional burdens and triggers, and I let them go. And as I advance more in this area, and I am more and more free and less triggered, less worried, less scared, and more in feeling free and abundant and confident and happy, that my bad habits are just disappearing. I don't and I have more energy also. So I have more energy to be more organized and be more disciplined. I think in my case, and the case of people who have PTSD or complex PTSD from their childhood, a lot of them are just very anxious. Their body is at its limit most of the time, and so they just don't have the mental capacity and the energy to even begin forming habits, which I think is a very costly thing to do, right? The brain doesn't do it for nothing, and it does it for certain things. And yeah, so in short, heal the inside world, the fears, your anxiety first, then habit forming will be much easier.
Yeah, I want to build on what you've just said, Simon. One is self-awareness. Yeah, I don't know what my triggers are like. Well, you need a basic level of self-awareness. Otherwise, you are not even a human being. Yeah, you cannot process things because you just have impulses and you react, and that's it. Like an animal. Yeah, so it's like with this adage of being able to read. If you don't read, you are as good as a person who doesn't know how to read. Yeah, it's the same thing here. We are human beings. We have this capacity to separate ourselves a bit from our emotions and think through them and so on. We just need to practice this. which is emotional intelligence, and this topic is actually researched quite well. And what they concluded is you can always improve your emotional intelligence, whether you are 10 years old or 40 and you behave the whole life like a cretin, still you can improve your emotional intelligence if you work on that, because that's how we are wired. And also, emotional intelligence, like, this is something everybody should work on. This is something they should teach at schools, because it's more important to success than IQ. IQ is a given. And okay, I'm pretty smart, so what? I won't be a genius ever. But you can grow your emotional intelligence. And it's actually across the board, older people are more emotionally stable because they just have a lot of more experience and practice in developing those skills, which compress into emotional intelligence.
Michelle, I want you to come live with my family, and I want you to insult them, call them animals, and force their emotional intelligence to grow. That would be very nice. But
Maybe not for them.
It doesn't matter. It's for the best. They need it. But anyway, jokes aside, so I think we've established well what it is to form new habits and to change. But I want to go back to your story. So you were suffering, and you read this one book. It helped you change and somehow go from being having a lack of purpose and suffering a lot to writing many books, and I'm guessing doing much more of what you love and being more happy. Can you describe some of the steps and some of the challenges that came along the way?
Well, let's just talk about the steps, because yeah, you're right. Like, you figured it out, but it exactly happened. So the first several months, I was just studying and trying to change myself, and I then rediscovered my childhood dream of being a writer, and I tried this and that, writing fiction in Polish, blogs, and finally, one of my friends said that, oh, this post was good, that would make a good ebook. So I wrote that ebook in like 2 months, published it on Amazon, and a few months before, I had no idea that there is such thing like Amazon or self-publishing. And then I was hooked because people actually started buying the book, something I wrote. So, okay, that was a way out, maybe out of my traditional life. So I started writing like crazy, publishing like crazy, and yes, that gave me enough cash flow to scale down my employment to half time, then quarter time. And along the way, I learned how to do Amazon ads for books, so I could sell my own books, and I started to offer this as a service to my friends. And I quit my job in 2022, and now I'm focusing on the book advertising business. I do some coaching on the side. I still sell 100 copies a month, maybe more, of my books, but my business is my main source of income. And I enjoy my life much more because now I'm in charge. How much I work, with whom I work, which projects I take, and so on. That's so much better than being in a corporate world.
I've never really been in the corporate world, but I believe you. I
Happy
know.
you.
Yeah, I mean, because it's very difficult, I think, for a lot of people, not just me, to go and work with people who maybe this is a negative characterization, but like my feeling is like everybody is very ingenuine, doing like going through politics in the office and bullshit like that, and who wants to do that, right? If I work with people, I want them to be aligned with me, and that's very rare. So to work online is a dream that a lot of people have, but from your story, I'm getting that a huge component was the discipline that you developed. That's one part of it. But also you connected with your childhood dream, and then you did it and it felt good, felt amazing maybe. And then you published something and you started getting paid for that. Wow. That's the way. I think it's discipline, but also this thing called passion that is a bit harder to locate and to find and understand. And then there's all this internal battles where, you know, we feel like we're not good enough. So why would we even try? Like, I want to be a musician. How am I gonna ever be a musician? Most people, they really aren't good enough. That's true. You have to be a bit crazy and you have to work your ass off at something, develop mastery. So if just as somebody who has began to develop a business in the niche, in the area of what they love doing, what would you suggest for people who they don't have so much self-awareness, but at least they want to develop the discipline, and but they don't know what to do with it?
Yeah, so I think there is something to what you said, passion and discipline. But in the end, it was a lot of actions. And we are what we are doing. In the end, that's why habits are important, because your activity defines you. If you are sitting in front of a TV and watch shows for hours and hours, you are a couch potato, period. Yeah, it's you cannot tell that about a person who never sits on a couch. So what we do define who we are. And I did a lot. I tried new things. I implemented those new habits of mine that were supposed to take me somewhere else. And just doing a lot of things, allowing the trial error as well, because I was firmly in the fixed mindset before. Yeah, so I'm bad. I try something. Oh, it's a failure. I'm a failure, and so on. So allow yourself trial and error, because that's the life. Like if a kiddo who wants to start walking after it, drop on a ground for the first time would say, "Oh, I'm a failure. I won't do it ever again." You cannot progress that way. But we are doing this in our adult lives all the time, because this emotional trauma connected to failure is so big that it prevents you from even trying. So doing is my reply, because things like patience or discipline, uh, there is a huge space for interpretation. What does it mean? What does it mean for me? But action, okay, either I practice my speed reading or not. And voila, it's very clear. So you can always track, if not, the progress toward the end goal, you can track your activities. You just need to pick the activities that should lead you there. So I'm a Christian. The big encompassing motivation is, to go to heaven. But this is such an elusive topic. Like, how do you do that? So I decided to study the saints. I'm reading what they wrote, and I also read the Bible because every day, because that's something which every profound Christian recommends. And I pray because that's again, spiritual masters say, okay, this is the thing to do. So I follow the advice of people who kind of have been there and done that. And I'm like, I feel like I'm the worst judge of myself. Probably like everybody, we judge ourselves by our intentions and other by the actions. So if I just was trying to, okay, how to make a saint out of me, how that would be like crazy. But I should do this and this, and it should lead me to those effects. So once again, action, like something you can do, something you can repeat. And when it comes to forming habits, something which is like in the same circumstances, because this is how we create habits. The brain recognize the pattern. Oh, so every morning Michal sits behind the desk, so it's time for writing. Aha, yeah, and then the habit is forming. But if you do it inconsistently here and there, yes, it may also develop, but may not.
Yeah. So just to kind of wrap things up around getting things done and to leaving the couch potato status, okay? You started by saying that you felt like you're not good enough. And I for sure have dealt with a lot of procrastination over the years because unconsciously I felt not good enough, or I just had no idea what step to take. So, I mean, there's many reasons why people procrastinate, but in a few sentences, what do you think helped you to shift from that guy who felt not good enough, who was just like playing computer? I don't know what you felt like your fate is going to be. Maybe you didn't even think about your future very much because it was too painful. You just were in the moment suffering, and computer was your escape. How did you stop that and transform into somebody that takes massive action? Because that's not an easy feat to achieve.
Yes, so I can see, Simon, you are the seer. You exactly described how I felt and how it was. Like you've been observing me then. What can I say? So again, action, like do the action and don't overthink it, because action will then rewire your thinking about yourself. Yeah, because I started a lot of habits and continued them. And then I was, okay, I'm a person who does this and this. I'm a person who reads, who studies personal development. That became my new identity. That's the word, yes. And again, that was, I heard it on some retreat, it was repeated after some psychiatrist, that the hardest thing to do for a human being is to change their self-image. Like, it's easier to quit hard drugs than to change your self-image, because like, it's who we are in our minds. Yeah. So then it's like killing yourself. Of course, it's the worst thing, the hardest thing to do. But no, it's not like you need to sit and focus and I will be a new person now. It's about the small things. That's actually what where people fail most often. Yeah, they try exactly that approach. I will change my life. I will change my habits. I will stop to be couch potato. Great, that's fine resolve, but that's not enough. What you need is action. So the action that you can sustain. So if it's about your physical shape, no, don't go to the gym for an hour and pump iron. Just do a few sit-ups or push-ups. Start from things that are so small that you can repeat them often. You can develop the habit much faster. And because you will have a new habit, it will change you. And
Okay.
if you develop a new habit, it's automatic in the end. So I tell you one story about that. One of my micro commitments, 'cause I needed also to lose some weight, was that whenever I was walking through stairs, I decide to run. So I developed that habit because I had, stairs at home, at work, on the commute. So I had like dozen times a day to practice this. And several months later, I caught myself. I'm at my work, going to the second floor, and I just feel uneasy. Like, what's going on? It was because I was walking, because the person in front of me was, slowly walking the stairs like most people do.
Like a
Yeah,
couch
so,
potato.
and then only caught myself, oh, so like it was so automatic. I didn't have to think about it. Yeah, it was who I was.
Yeah. So I'll just summarize because I think you said a few such wise, profound things. Stop with the black and white thinking. You don't have to go from 0 to 200. You start with very small, achievable steps. You feel good. You're not going to change your identity overnight. And I'll add to that if we want to change who we are and what we're doing, we need a big picture plan. This is a long-term vision, but we also need a detailed plan, step by step. So make those for yourself. Write it down. Big picture where you want to be in 20 years. And also how to get there. After you have that vision, how to get there, step by every single step. And do what you can, step by step, every day, gradually grow. Don't beat yourself up. You're not a saint, right? And when you can, get some external help from somebody who has achieved your goal. Also, that's probably one of the greatest shortcuts. It's expensive, but those who have a goal and are serious about it, money isn't the issue, right? It's the mindset and it's the habits, exactly, and the disciplines.
So I agree with having a vision and then breaking it down. I disagree with planning every single step because you don't know what you don't know. You just set a hypothesis. Okay, I want to be a writer. Okay, I want to have books published, thousands of readers, and so on. That's what I want. That's the aspiration. How to get there? When I started, I had no clue. It took me literally the whole month before I figured out, oh, writers, they write. I should start writing. Yeah. So at the very beginning, you are clueless. So mapping the whole way, it's okay. You may do this, but it reminds me this doodle of how you think success happens, and it's a straight line up, yeah. And how it really happens is a mishmash of turns,
Yes.
downs and ups, and then finally the end point. So this is how it will be, most probably. On the other hand, it's amazingly, like, I haven't found even a single aspect of life where you can say, okay, I want this, and then you cannot define the next step. Like, it's not possible. It's always okay. Even as I described, a super duper spiritual, like untangible thing of going to heaven. Like, but how? Yeah. Well, I don't know. So who knows? Oh, those who were there get there. Okay, so I will study what they wrote. Yeah. So even if it's totally unimaginable and hard to comprehend, the next step is always clear. You just need to
Yeah.
inquire about it. Yeah, this is another thing I got from what you were saying. Yeah, I don't know what to do. Like, I didn't know even what I would like to do or want to do. Okay, that's your current state. That's true statement. But how will you get to know? Like, if you don't try, you will never know. And so you need then to start asking yourself question and pursuing. Otherwise, like you will be stuck in this state forever.
That's exactly right. And I didn't say write a good plan. I didn't say write an accurate plan. It's gonna suck and it's gonna be wrong, and you're gonna have to change it a million times. Because when you start, you know nothing, and everything is guaranteed to change. And that's good. That means you're growing and learning. And with that, Michal, thank you so much. It was
You're most
really
welcome.
interesting.
I want to follow up on one last thing, which is you said you need help of others. That's like acceleration.
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't have to cost you because we are mimicking machines. That's the shortcut for everything in your life. You want something, spend more time with people who are that or have that. And the only thing then you need is not to like sabotage internally. Okay, you are among the fit people and you think it works for them but not for me. Then you are counteracting the influence. But if you go there with just this positive attitude, it's guaranteed you will change because that's how we work. That's how we operate. And the best thing about it is like you don't feel like you make an effort. It's just quite normal. It's a new social setup. Okay, we are going to gym classes. Okay, we move for an hour there. It's new normal. Okay, I love this topic, so I can continue and continue forever. Thank you for having me on the show.
Thanks.
Thank you,
I love the brutality of the discipline, but and I'm sure that was useful for you. And yeah, obviously it was. And I myself have developed more and more of. I'm getting into this iron mindset where I know what is wrong and I know what is right, and I don't do what's wrong anymore. And the only times that I do it, hard for me to think about it, but my life is just so much happier. Sometimes I think the wrong thing because I'm not aware, but I always ask for help for somebody who knows. So I agree with you totally, Michal. Thank you so much. And it was a pleasure.
Indeed.